Hi. So this video is not gonna be like a happy, lighthearted one. Like, I guess they haven't really been lately. But I felt like I needed to address this. I want this YouTube channel to reflect all of me, not just the happy parts, because that's not realistic, that's not real life, that is not anyone's life. No one's life is perfect and happy all the time. Okay, I'm just gonna say this ahead of time. This video is probably gonna be triggering in terms of mentions of depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and self-harm. So yeah, if you're triggered by any of those things, I would just click off and not watch this particular video. So, mental health is something I've battled for quite some time now. When I was in 8th grade, I started to just feel sad all the time. Like, all the time. And I felt worthless. I felt pathetic. I felt like no one cared about me. Truly. That was just a really hard thing for me to deal with because all of my life I had been, generally a happy person before this came. And everyone always told me I was smiling all the time and I was just so optimistic about everything. And then something in my brain a switch just flipped in 8th grade. And everything was different to this day. Like, I have never been the same. I became anxious the summer before freshman year, which I think the reason freshman year was the worst year of my life for me, it was 100% because of mental health. Like, that was the main thing. It was controlling every day, my entire life. Every single thing I did was revolving around depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidal thoughts. Because all of these things, they were too severe to just ignore. And I feel like when there's something that problematic in your life, you can't ignore it. Like, it's physically impossible, mentally impossible for you to just brush it off. So freshman year was just so bad, and I think it was because it was so new to me. I didn't know how to process it, I didn't know how to cope or deal with it, and it was just really bad. I think the first time I ever self-harmed was summer before freshman year. And it was like a week before my freshman orientation thing. And I was anxious, I was stressed out, I was depressed. It was just, I was having suicidal thoughts. It was just everything all at once. And when I'm overwhelmed and I feel like I don't have any control over anything, that's when I self-harm. It's, for me at least, it's like this way of having control over my body, having control over whatever I can. And in those moments, I feel like the only thing I can control is myself. I can't control my brain, but I can control my hands. The last time I self-harmed was February 2017. Because whenever the start of a new year is always probably the hardest time for me. It's probably that and the start of a new school year. But since then, I have gotten a therapist. I've had her, she's absolutely wonderful, helped me a ton. For some people, I know that talking to another person sometimes isn't enough, sometimes you need medication, but in my case, I think all I really needed was to talk things out and to have a professional tell me what I needed to do in order to improve my mental health and myself. Some days are better than others, and then other days are completely awful. Like, I can't get out of bed. It's hard for me to do day-to-day tasks like brush my teeth, get showered, eat sometimes. But on those days, I have absolutely no motivation whatsoever, because it's just like this feeling that like my life is pointless, I guess, and that I'm worthless, and there's no point in waking up and taking care of myself because I don't matter. That's what the bad days feel like. And then the good days, they feel hopeful. They feel like maybe everything will be okay. I feel like I can overcome anything and I can fight through whatever I'm struggling with. The good days just feel like victories, and the bad days feel like losses. And then the okay days just feel like nothing. That's sometimes what depression feels like too. Sometimes it feels like absolutely nothing at all. Like you feel nothing. You feel like you're completely empty, like all your emotions have been drained out of you. And then other times, it's like all of the sadness, anger, negative emotions come crashing in all at once, and it's just so overwhelming. That's really the only accurate word I can use to describe anxiety and depression, is just overwhelming. It's so hard for me to comprehend either nothing at all or everything at once. I'm still struggling to this day. I think that there will always be somewhat of an internal struggle, whether it's super severe sometimes or it's fine, like it's minimal. There's always going to be that struggle, I think. But I'll fight through it. I'm willing to fight through it. And on the bad days, there's always going to be that voice in the back of my mind telling me that I need to keep fighting, because the good days are going to be absolutely amazing. And I know that there's so much waiting for me in my future. There's so many great things waiting for me in the future. I know that. Through all the bad days, through all the negative thoughts and the constant battle in my brain, I know that there's so many great things that are waiting for me in my future. Those little moments that I'm looking forward to so much, they're worth fighting for, and I will fight for them. I have fought for them, I am fighting for them, and I will always continue to fight for them. And I want you to fight for those moments too. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, and it's gonna be hard. Life is hard. No one's perfect. No one's life is perfect. You have to fight for those moments if you want them to happen. If you want to have a good life, you have to fight for it, because it's not just gonna come easy. You have to step out of your comfort zone, and you have to get out there, and you have to fight. So stay alive, keep fighting, and I love you all. Stay beautiful.